All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the Public Transportation Division's Regionally Coordinated Transportation Planning 5-Year Plan Update for Fiscal Year 20, Call for Projects, Application Instructions webinar. My name is Linda Hernandez. I am the Program Manager Lead, and I'll be the host for today's webinar. In the room is Kari Banta. She's a 5310 Program Manager. At this time, we do not have a planning program manager, so she and I are filling in on those duties. So our agenda is shown on the screen, but just to make sure it's clear, this webinar is specifically to discuss the application and the application instructions. So we're not going to go over the 5-year plan update and how to complete that, but we're going to go over just the application and the instructions, trying to submit that application so you can get the funding to update your plan. To ask questions during the webinar, please send an email to ptn_programmgmt@txdot.gov. As we're going through the webinar, I will try to periodically review the questions and submitted and provide answers. We'll also have time at the end of the webinar to review and answer questions submitted. Questions will be used to develop a frequently asked question and answer document, which will be posted to our website as well. So just a little bit of background. This call for projects was issued January 3rd, and we're requesting applications to assist lead entities in Texas in developing, adopting, and implementing a 5-year public transit human service transportation plan. Coordination is mandated in Texas among transportation providers, health and human service agencies, and workforce boards by the Texas Transportation Code, Chapter 461. FTA requires that every 5 years, the regionally coordinated transportation plan be updated. The current plans are for January 2017 through December of 2021. Section 5310 projects must be derived from the 5-year plan to be considered for funding. So this goal that's up here is a little different than what you'll currently see in the application instructions and the one in the e-grants forms. We are working on getting this corrected, but the goal is to prepare a 5-year comprehensive public transit human services transportation plan for the period of January 2022 through December 2026 to ensure a network of transportation services to effectively and efficiently get people where they need to go. Once the 5-year plan is developed and adopted by stakeholders, agencies will disseminate that 5-year plan throughout the region. So important points, the entity submitting the application must be the locally selected lead agency. Only lead agencies should see this opportunity in their opportunity list. The opportunity is titled 5-Year Plan 2020. If for some reason you do not see that, please send an email to us and we'll see what the issue is. Project grant agreements will be for a total of 18 months, September 1st, 2020 through February 28th, 2022. We expect that plans will be in place January of 2022. So you may notice on the application instructions there was a typo that said February 29th, 2021. We're sorry about that, but we will get that corrected soon. Yeah, that wouldn't have been enough time, definitely, for this project. So master grant agreement and the current FTA TxDOT certification and assurances must be on file prior to the issuance of a PGA. and applications must be submitted through eGrants. So all parts of the applications must be submitted through eGrants. The status must be application submitted for review by March 27, 2020 in order to be considered submitted on time. So applicants must answer all required questions, answer all questions thoroughly, and be specific and to the point. So some questions may have an 8,000 character limit. They may have a 4,000 character limit. Whatever it is, don't feel the need to use all characters available, but answer all questions asked for one single question. So if you have a question and it has 3 parts, make sure you touch on each of those 3 parts. And as stated, be thorough, specific, and to the point. Clearly label all attachments that include a description field. Some attachments might not have a description field, but for those that do, please clearly label what that attachment is. And I have to also mention, please clearly label the attachment so that if we do download just the attachments, we can easily identify what that document is. TxDOT will not be responsible for locating or securing information not included in the eGrants application. So letters of support or commitment, any document should be attached to the application and not submitted via mail. If letters are submitted via mail, we can't guarantee it will be reviewed as part of the application. Before you submit, review for completeness and clarity. Review the full eGrants application and review all uploaded documents. Ensure that the uploaded documents are complete. It's the correct document. It wasn't version 1 when you're on version 3 or anything like that. Just please look at each document and ensure it's the correct one. So the schedule. So the notice of opportunity, as I said earlier, was open on January 3rd. Today is January 14th, and this is the Completing the Funding Application webinar. On Thursday, January 16th, we'll have another webinar for completing the 5-year plan. The deadline for submitting written questions will be February 21st, and all questions must be submitted in writing. So please do not call your PTC or myself or Kari. Please submit those questions in writing to that mailbox. The deadline for submitting proposals will be 5 p.m. Central Daylight Time, March 27th, 2020. Our target for completing evaluations and beginning negotiations will be April 15th. The presentation of recommended projects to the Texas Transportation Commission will be June 25th of 2020. And we expect that all project grant agreements should be executed by September 1st for a start date of September 1st, 2020. So any project grant agreement that is created based on this call for projects will include 3 required deliverables. It will include a report on an inventory of transportation resources, a report on comprehensive needs assessment, and a final updated 5-year public transit human services transportation plan that includes all the required elements. There is an attachment C on the application instructions that provides a table of contents for that 5-year plan. And as mentioned earlier, there'll be the separate webinar on Thursday, January 16th, that'll go over how to complete that 5-year plan. So, submission. There are 5 forms in eGrants which must be completed. That is the applicant information, the obligation certification, the 5-year plan, overview and strategy, a work plan, and the budget and milestones. In the next few slides, I'm going to give a brief overview of those forms and what they contain. Section 2 of the application instructions will give you guidance on how to complete each question. So before we go on, I'm just going to check to see if there are any questions now. Okay. So the applicant's information, you'll have a general information section. That'll be the contact information, who can answer information on this application. So who should we contact if we have any questions on this specific application, and a service profile verification. So it'll say, by checking this box, you verify that everything in the service profile is correct. Please make sure to go to your service profile, look at it, ensure that everything is correct on that service profile before checking the box. And then you'll have the project summary information, or section. In that you'll have a percentage for rural versus urban. That's the percentage of the planning area that's rural versus urban. You'll have a state planning region number. It'll be the state planning region number. That's pretty self-explanatory. The name of the project. This is an example, putting region 2, 5-year plan, something simple works. You don't have to make it anything complicated, just the region, the number, and it's a 5-year plan. And we need this because if we run reports, sometimes that is all that we see is that name, and we want to ensure that that is a brief, quick summary of a brief name of what that application is. You'll also have a brief description of the project. Again, sometimes if we just see that description should tell us what this project is. You'll have how will the project achieve the TxDOT strategic plan goals. Please go and click on the hyperlink, which will show you what the goals are, and answer as appropriately. And there's a section for identifying partners and what they will contribute. The obligation certification, I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. The only comment I have on this one is please ensure that only an authorized official checks the box. Anyone else, if they check the box, that's whose name, title, and date, that's whose information is going on that page. Please ensure that it's only an authorized official checking that box. The next form is the 5-year plan overview and strategy form. So each bullet is a section of that form. The 5-year public transit human service transportation plan section goes over how your agency will develop the 5-year plan, the experience and capacity, who will complete the plan, what's their experience, the roles and responsibilities of stakeholders, is how will stakeholders be engaged, and this is also the area where you would attach letters of commitment. The inventory of transportation resources, comprehensive needs assessment, and identification of inefficiencies section, you basically have to explain how the agency will develop each of those documents identified. Letters of support and additional documentation will get attached to this form. So the 5-year plan overview and strategy is where you would attach any letters of support or additional documentation. So the work plan is the next form, and the product of this table will be a work plan to complete the 5-year plan. New rows can be created by clicking Save at the top of the form. The estimated cost for each deliverable should match the project cost worksheet. And the total amount project cost worksheet and the budget worksheet and the budget and milestones form should all align. So please make sure to look at all of your totals and make sure that all of those align. Kari, did you want to?
Yeah, I wanted to go over, so the application, we've broken down the information that we're looking for on the deliverables, where we're looking for the goal, the objectives, and the tasks. So each goal will have multiple objectives, each objective will probably have multiple tasks, and just wanted to go over what we meant by each of those terms. So the goal is where you want to go. So it's a clear statement of the outcome. It's a general descriptive statement, and it's not how you do something, but what the results will look like. Your objective is how you get there and the progress you need to make to do that. So that's where we get into the specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. It's defining the actions that you're taking to reach the goal, and they're more specific and provide more detail. And then your task are the action steps needed to make the progress in that objective. And then you'd be listing out the responsible party for each of those elements as you're filling that out. So as you're doing it, there may be, if you're filling out multiple objectives for the goals, you'll put the same goal in the first column and then update the information for, the three, for example, 3 objectives you would have under there, and then if there were multiple tasks, you would copy the information for each of the objectives.
All right. Okay, so going on to the next slide. The budget and milestones, indirect costs will not be considered or allowed if not indicated at the time of the application submission. So if you are intending to have indirect costs, please make sure that the indirect costs box is checked, and the rate is also included on that page. If in-kind match will be used, the project total cost should be inflated by the in-kind match amount, and the federal column should be the amount requested. Supporting documentation must be included as an attachment for in-kind match. Local match is not required, but points will be issued for those that include local funds as match. Milestones must be entered into this form. I think in past, maybe the milestones were not required, but milestones must be entered. So we must enter the estimated contract award date and estimated contract completion date. And if you're hiring a consultant, the estimated RFP ISB issue date should be included also. There are 2 attachments for the budget and milestones form, and that is the budget workbook and the project cost workbook. The budget workbook itemizes each expense category, and the project cost workbook details each expense category by deliverable. There's an attachment A and B, which are examples of these, and the forms must be attached to the budget and milestones form. So you'll give me just a second. I'm going to pull that up. So this is what the budget worksheet looks like, and it has personnel, fringe, equipment, and supplies. It goes on, but you would put each item on here. So if you have multiple people, so you have a manager, You have a coordinator, I don't know. You have multiple staff people. You would put their titles on here. You would put the number of units, unit of measure, their rate, and then that will all total up for you. Then you'll have the award amount, or the amount that you're requesting from us, and then you'll have the match amount, or the amount that you are providing, and that again should total up. So you'll have that, and then you'll also have another tab that's for contractual. So if you'll have a contract, you want to provide the same information specific to the contract on this page. So that's the budget workbook, and then you have the project cost workbook, and this is what it looks like. Our project cost worksheet. And so you'll have your personnel, fringe, you'll have those same categories. They kind of roll it up for that one deliverable. So this is deliverable 1. So how much of the personnel is for deliverable 1? How much of fringe is for deliverable 1? And all of that will subtotal. You have up to 8 that are already structured like this for you, and it'll all total up for you. If you need additional spaces, you need to create additional deliverables, you can, but that will not total, so you'll have to work in Excel to get that in there. All right. So where to ask questions. For clarification of the specifications of this call for projects, you can email the PTN_program mgmt@TxDOT.gov. The responses to written questions will be posted on the Public Transportation Division's website. We'll also email you directly to your response to your question, but all of those will be put together and put in a Q&A document on the website. Please check the website periodically for updates. All questions are due by February 21st, 2020, and a final Q&A document will be posted to the PTN website the following week. For eGrants assistance, so if you have questions specific to eGrants, such as, I can't see my application, you would contact eGrants or help desk at ptn-egrantshelp@TxDOT.gov, or you can call them by phone, 512-486-5957. But again, do not call the help desk for questions about the application. That would go to the PTN_program mgmt@TxDOT.gov. So this is the web page where all of this information will be posted. I will also send that out, and it's also in the application instructions multiple times. So now that's the end of my presentation. Let me go back to this page. So please submit your questions. I will be checking that mailbox. And sorry, do you see any questions right now?
No, I have the chat open. I didn't see any. And I didn't see any in the mailbox either.
Okay. If you'd like to use the chat, we can use the chat also. So if you want to use the chat function in the WebEx, we can use that also. So we'll give everyone a couple minutes to think about it, and again, you can either send an email or use the chat function. I'm going to put us on mute, but we'll just wait for a few minutes. So we have the question of, will regional planning activities continue to be funded for the next fiscal year, or will this take the place of performing such functions? I believe you're talking about the continuation funding that's given in between years. So this call for projects will take the place of that continuation funding. We have the other question, if a copy of the slideshow will be posted. Yes, a copy of the slideshow and the presentation will both be posted. So the recorded presentation will be posted also. So we'll hang on a couple more minutes. We're not getting any questions so far, but we'll hang on. All right, not seeing any additional questions. I'd like to thank you all for participating. Again, the presentation, the recorded presentation, the slideshow will be posted on our website. And questions will be accepted until February 21st. So please send in any questions that you think of later on. And we'll be replying to them as they come in, but we'll also be gathering them up to post on our TxDOT website. So thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you.